Hello and welcome everyone to this video on using SAP Workflow for document processing by ZaranTech. But before we begin, make sure to subscribe to our ZaranTech YouTube channel and hit the bell icon to never miss any update from us.
Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss the concept of using workflow for document processing. So, what is the meaning of document processing here? So let's suppose when we use this kind of requirement in case of workflow, we already know workflow is nothing but mainly used to automate the business processes. In simple way, let's take an example for leave request approval. So suppose you have applied for a leave to your reporting manager, and if your reporting manager is not available to approve or reject the leave, then in that scenario we can automate the business process so that if after a certain time period, if your RM is not approving or rejecting it, then in that scenario we can automate it that the leave request should be approved automatically. So this kind of thing we can do in case of any workflow, but when we use the workflows for document processing, let's discuss it. So suppose whenever we want to send document as a work item to the agents, now you triggered a workflow, and what you want to send document as a work item to the agents. Then we go for this kind of step type, which is nothing but a document. So this kind of step types we go when we want to send document as a work item to the agents. So suppose the manager want a document for getting information of leave in the upcoming month in advance. So a lot of people mainly work under a RM. And your RM wants to know how many of you will be taking leave in the upcoming month so that he can allocate you to the projects accordingly. So these are the things that your RM will always want to know. So manager will create a workflow and it will be received by every user. And in that, every user will be required to fill their details regarding leave. So it will be received by every user, and in that every user will be required to fill their details regarding leave. So let's take a hints for this. So we are required to create an internal table. Internal table is nothing but we can store multiple records at the runtime. So in here we will be creating a multi-line container for internal table. Then we will be creating a work area for processing each record from the internal table. Then we will create a variable to store number of users and a variable to store count of number of users. And then we will use them according to it. So let's start with, so we'll simply go to SWDD transaction code. This is the workflow builder here. We will click on this create button. So now we will click on this create button. So after that, what we will do, we will start with the creating of our internal table. To see what we will do, we will go to this workflow container and double click on it. And here we will start with the name LT employee for internal table of our employee. Again, LT employee for the name. I'm going to give description as internal table for employee. Then in the web dictionary data type, I'm going to give this SWD-AOBZID. If you will double click on it, you can see this is a workflow definition agent for a step. So we can use this for storing the name, and its type is 255 character. In the properties, we will make it import and export. And the most important thing for the internal table, we will select the element as multi-line. In case of internal table, we will select this as a multi-line. So this is my internal table now. And then the next thing that I'm going to do here, I'm going to create a work area. So I'll give the name as LS employee, and again the element as LS employee and the name again as LS employee. So I will give the description as work area for employee details. Then in the web dictionary, we will select again the same type data type as SWD-AOBZID, and in the properties we will mark it as import and export. Then we'll click on this OK button. So our internal table and work area has been created. Now the next thing that we are required to do is we are required to create a variable. mainly two variables. The first one will be the number of employee, which will consist of the total number of employee. Then the second one will be the variable which will count the number of iteration of the loop. So we'll go for it. We'll give the name as LV number of employee. Again, LV number of employee. And here we'll give the description as total number of employees. Employees. In the dictionary, I'm giving it int 1. I don't want to take in the number of employees more than 10 here. In the properties, we'll go it and mark it import and export as usual, and we'll click on this OK button. Then see what we are going to do here. Here, again, we will click on this, double click on this, and we will create a local variable for count. And this count is going to count. So I'll go start with LV count, counting of number of employees. This one is good. And we will give its type as int 1. Then we'll go to properties and again we will mark it as import and export. Now I will click on this OK button. These are the things that I have done here. Now the next thing that we are required to do is we will be required to prepare a document and see how we will be preparing a document. So in this, you will click on this button and you can see we have got a document templates. So go to it and double click on it. Okay, first we are required to save our workflow. So I will give the name as abbreviation here and then the name workflow. Press enter, assign the package and transport request. Now double click on here. I have already selected it as an Excel, so you can change it by clicking on here and you can select whatever the sheet you want. I am selecting the worksheet. Here I will give the name of heading for my document. So see what we are going to add here. We mainly be using employee ID, employee name, and leave info. So I will give. I'm going to take the color. This one. Okay, no issue. Employee ID, employee name, and info. This info will contain mainly the date, nothing else. Just click on this save button and we will give a title employee underscore details. Press enter. Our job is done. Click back here and click on the save button. So we have created our document. Now see what we are going to do here. Now our document has been created and this document we are required to send as a work item to the users. So this document will mainly be sent to the users and the users list we will add in the internal table, and when the workflow will be triggered by the reporting manager, it will be sent to the every user and they will have to fill this document. So we'll right click on the step and go for loop until. Just right click here, create, and we will go for loop until step and give the name as employee data, and we are going to give this condition. See what will be the condition. The condition is whenever the value of count will become to the number of employee, I want this loop to be finished. So the first one will be LV number of employee, and this one I'm going to give as equal to, and the third next one will be LV count. Click on this OK button. So if this one is true, at last what will happen? The loop will end. So I'll give this as end loop, or the second case will be continue loop. This one is false. It means that this LV count has not become equal to the local number of employees here, so it will continue this loop. Now click on this OK button and we can see we have got mainly two steps for this loop. Either will be true in that sense workflow will be completed. In case of false, we will continue the loop. Now within this loop, we have to increase the value of this LV count so that we will use this step type container operation. So we are going to use the step type container operation to increase the value of this LV count here. And how we will go that? Let me show to you. We'll simply go to this LV continue loop, right click on it, go for the create one, and you are going to go for this container operation. And here in this container operation, we will give the name of as increase count. I'm going to give the name as increase underscore count, and the outcome name will be increase count as well. Then we will give this result element. So result element will be our LV count variable only, and this will be the assignment operator. And in the expression again, I'm going to select this LV count where it is, this one, and the operator will be plus. And for every iteration, we will increment it by 1. Then we'll click on this OK button. So see, we have got our increase count. Then the next thing that we are required to do, now when we have to read the data, we will use container operation again to increase count. We have to read the data, we will increase the container operation again to increase the count. So how we are going to do it mainly? So in case of this increase count, the next thing that we are required to do is read employee. Let's see it. Increase count. This one is increase count. Go for the create button. And what we will do is we will go for this attachment of document here. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. No. The next thing we will go will be so now within this loop we have to increase the value of LV count. So for that we will use we have already increased it. Then the next thing that we are required to do is we will use the container operation again to increase count. All right. So we have to use this internal table here. For that, we will go for it. And I will go for it. Let me show it to you. All right. We'll simply go for this. In case of increase count, we'll go for this create one. And increase count. All right. Or other we have got this continue on. So we'll go for this read employee, and again we'll go for this container operation. So I will go for this container operation and I will give the name as the read employee. Outcome name will be again read employee. And in this situation, the result element is going to be LV count again. And the expression will be, what will be the expression? This one is going to be our, wait a minute, I've given the wrong one here. Result element will be our work area, and for this LV count. All right, so select the work area here. And here we will select n% LT underscore employee bracket n% LV underscore count n% close bracket and then n% as well. In the operator, we will give plus and 1. So see what we have done here. There is no need of plus or 1 here. Sorry for the mistake. I will give assignment again. The main thing that we are required to, we are mainly going to iterate it for our internal table based on this count value, and it will be given to this work area. And for that, that particular user is going to receive in their business workplace, and they will fill that attachment. Now we will click on this OK button. All right, so just go for it. Read employee. Then we have increased count, and after that what we will do is we are going for the read employee, and we will use the document from template for attaching the document. So here in this read employee, right click on it, go for the create one, and we will go for this document from template. So see what we are going to do here. We will give a step name, and then we'll add the document and the expression for our work area. Then it is over. So Excel sheet, seat for employee. And here in the document, we will give the name of our document. Since we have only one document, it comes automatically. Then in the agents, we will add it our work area for the agents. It's over. Let's click on this OK button. So see, our workflow is started. And if the workflow is, the loop is true, the workflow will be completed. Otherwise, we will go from this one. And we'll start with this every step we are going to do. Then we will click on this activate button. And workflow definition saved and saved and activated automatically. Here we can add the number of employees here. Then the employee will, what you will do here mainly, you will be passing the user ID for your employees. Then we will give this LB number of employees, the total number of employee in this internal table, and you will execute it, and the thing will be done. So what we see here is, this is how we mainly do. We mainly use our workflow for document processing. Thank you very much.